And welcome to another episode of the DuPage Run and Shoot. As always, I'm your host, Patrick Cotto. We have a lot to unpack. The high school football season has somehow, in some way, I don't know how, hit week 9. We have a very special episode tonight. We got our co-host Matt with us on the show. Matt, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, buddy. I'm just getting ready for Halloween here. I guess if we're going to talk about who we're dressing up as for Halloween, since we're all dressing up somewhat stylish tonight, I am Joe Burrow because Who Dey Nation is rising up again, and they have won 2 straight. So, you know what? The Bengals are my AFC team. I was in Louisiana when Burrow won the title, so you know what? I will rock with Joe Shiesty any time of the day.
Yeah, I guess we did decide to do an unexpected Halloween theme tonight. This was not planned, people. This was not planned. It was just unexpected. And we have a third guest on the show for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. You all probably have recognized her before from the state finals or other sporting events, but it's Kacy Standohar. Kacy, welcome to the DuPage Run and Shoot.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I didn't know about the Halloween dressing up, or I would have worn something like on my apartment for something. I was planning on dressing up my puppy this year because I don't have time to dress up myself. I have a 6-month-old little wiener dog. And his name is Bernie, so I was going to dress him up as Uncle Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's. He was going to play dead. But I'm telling you, he's not going to wear the costume long enough for me to snap a photo, so I don't think it's going to happen this year.
That usually sounds like dogs when you're trying to, dress them up in Halloween costumes. Trust me.
For sure.
It's going
to happen.
We tried to dress up my dog as a hot dog one time, and that did not go well.
So yeah, very exciting time of year, and football in full swing.
You got that right, Kacy. Football in full swing. I mean, again, hard to believe, postseason's coming up, but that exciting time of the year.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it really is. And I was just telling you guys before the show started, how did it go so fast? I feel like it was August a day ago. I don't understand what's flying by.
It's already end of October. November is the next thing you know, it's going to be New Year's before we know it.
So, yeah. Anyway,
so, Kacy, what kind of costume would we have to guess that you're wearing? Like a nice little Barbie costume?
Well, I didn't prepare, so I guess we'll go with that. It's purplish pink. But next time I will be ready with the costume. Normally, my friends and I go all out for Halloween. We've done group costumes, like the Scooby-Doo crew or the characters from Willy Wonka. We've done all cool stuff in the past. But honestly, with my football schedule this year with University of Illinois and high school and just being busy with everything, I don't know if I'm going to have time to dress up.
Well, speaking of Halloween costumes, my girlfriend and I were going to a costume party Saturday night, and we got our costume picked out. I'm going to be a Dalmatian, and she's going to be Cruella de Vil.
Oh, that's cute. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yep.
Good
Well,
one.
anyway, Matt and Kacy, let's go ahead and get into our games of the get into the show. We're gonna start off by recapping Week 8. We're gonna start off with, to me, this I think is the IHSA game of the year. No ifs, ands, or buts. Matt, you were there for this game. Naperville North 63, Homewood Flossmoor 62. The floor's all yours, buddy.
For sure, for sure. So I just before I get into the actual game recap, I just want to remind everyone of my schedule for that day. I worked 8 to 3 at my other job at Menards. I was outside schlepping carts and filling propane the entire day. And then I leave to go to Homewood Flossmoor at 5 p.m. I get there at 6. The varsity game doesn't start till 7:30 because the JV game went later and they had to do practice and it was their youth night there. The game starts at 7:30. It doesn't end until 11:15 because I had to witness a game that went into double overtime where Homewood Flossmoor imitated the Atlanta Falcons and choked away a 15-point lead with less than 2 minutes left in the game. So did not get out of there till 11:15. Did not get back to the station to edit until 12:15. Did not get done editing until 3:15 a.m. Went home to sleep at 4 a.m. and woke up at 8:20 because the next day I had to be back up at 11 at West Aurora for girls tennis sectionals, which I did not get done editing until 7:15 that night.
Wait,
So
Matt, what station are you working for?
Pat and I worked together at NCTV.
Oh, that's
We
right.
worked
Okay,
together at
you worked
NC.
there. Got
Yep.
it.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's
that's
how
a late night. I do not envy you.
No, that's that was literally I was going for, what did we say, about 36 hours. I would say 36 hours straight.
Wow.
Almost, besides a little 3-4 hour power nap. But that game with Homewood Flossmoor and Naperville North was insane. That was a thing of beauty right there. That was North's passing game against Homewood Flossmoor's ground game, because the defense did not do good at all for Naperville North at all against the run game. There was like so many times 3rd and 7 they ran it out of wildcat formation, or they just could not tackle the Viking running backs. And I thought for sure that game was going to be over. But then Jacob Bell, being the great hero that he is, Lord Bell, as I'm going to dub him on this show, had a rushing touchdown. And I knew that it ain't over until it's over. It ain't over until it's over. And sure enough, they could not recover the onside kick.
No.
And I knew instantly, I was like, this is it. I'm not questioning if the ball is going to get into the end zone. I'm just counting down how quick it's going to get to the end zone. And sure enough, he just found Quinn Morris on a dime for a 31-yard touchdown pass. And I was like, this game's going to be going overtime. And I was like, this is going to be fireworks here. And the scary part about OT was I was honestly afraid, and I mean this in no offense to the Naperville North people. I know they watch the show a lot. You guys have a talented team. I'm not taking anything away from your game on Friday night, but you know what? I was honestly scared I wouldn't get out of there until 2 a.m. with how it was looking in overtime and with how those defenses were early on in that game in overtime. I thought it was just going to be back and forth. And then finally, thank God, Homewood Flossmoor could not convert a 2-point conversion on Wildcat because their special teams had a rough night. They had 3 block point after attempts.
You did say that.
They had 3 blocked PATs in that game. So, of course, you could understand the lack of confidence in them trying to go for 2 or kicking the point after, and why they would want to go for 2. And finally, the Huskies woke up and stopped them. And I was just like, just score a touchdown and kick a point after. Please. And I as much work as it was well worth it, because that was the best. Now it's not only the best football game I've covered, that was the best high school sporting event I've covered. And I have
probably the best high school sporting event that we ever got at the station, Nat. And I tell everyone, name the sports, we're there. And yeah, that's probably one of the best sporting events we got. And wow.
Yeah, I'm a bowler, so you know what? I have a lot of people that like my bowling coverage that I've worked for that currently are on the Naperville Central, Naperville North teams. Sorry, guys, this is nothing taken away from you, but you know what? This highlight instantly tops sectionals and regionals when I covered that for you guys last year. And I mean that in no offense, but I say that with love that this tops it.
And just for Naperville North in general, I mean, this offense has just been super electric all season long. Like they've since their loss to Naperville Central in week 2, they've just been finding ways to grind out games. I mean, they grinded out an overtime win against Lincoln Way Central. They won a Texas shootout against Lincoln Way West, and then this stuff against Homewood Flossmoor. So can't say I'm surprised. And this loss for Homewood Flossmoor sure puts them at 4-4. But if they get that 5th win, that's a 5-4 team you don't want to mess with in the playoffs.
Well, that's a 5-4 team that you got to prepare for on defense, because on offense they are something scary to behold.
Homewood Flossmoor is a super fast football team.
Yeah. They didn't have as many passing they had a couple passing plays, but a lot of it was their ground. I bet you they had at least over 300 yards rushing on the night. But in terms of for them going forward, they just need to get a win against Lockport. And Lockport, with that run offense, I really don't know what to expect with that, because Lockport is a team that's 3-5, but don't bet against that record.
They're still going to play for pride and stuff, even if teams are eliminated from the playoffs. You know, those teams could still play spoiler and that other team's season as well. Let's not forget, Lockport's got a tank for running back as well, named Tyler Pospisil.
And I had the privilege of being able to interview Tyler Pospisil and tell him about the show. So Tyler, if you're out there, appreciate you checking in. But you know what? Honestly, this win basically cements Naperville North as a team that no one wants to face in the playoffs, because you instantly go up against Jacob Bell. And Jacob Bell can run, he can throw. 9 total touchdowns, Pat. 9. Let me ask you this. Could the Vikings defense stop Jacob Bell at all? 9. They could not.
That is a definitely big no if you're going to give up 9 touchdowns and stuff. And, you know, teams that, you know, with Homewood Flossmoor playing Lockport's offense is going to watch their defensive film. Sandburg, who Naperville North is playing next, you know, they're going to watch all that film, because for North, great offense, but their defense is just shaky.
Very shaky, and I covered them again this Friday, and please just let this be a quick game. Please just let this be a quick game. But it's right here in Naperville, so I don't have too far to go. Unlike Homewood Flossmoor. North
is for sure going to be in the playoffs. You know, will they have a home game first round? Maybe. We'll just see how their defense does. But yes, this was pretty much a good playoff preview for, you know, what's to come in the playoffs.
Yeah, it is.
Well, for Naperville North, that puts them at 6-2 on the year to secure a playoff spot, because I'm not gonna lie, we have seen some 5-4 teams get hosed at the end of the year. So North needed this win in the worst way possible. I think they're for sure gonna have a home game now. I feel like if they also get this win against Sandburg, Homewood Flossmoor, win you're in. Pretty much it. Win you're in.
Win you're in. That's all you got to do.
Next one. This game I was covering on Friday, a game that did not have any overtime and stuff, but some good defense. Naperville Central 22, Sandburg 8. Naperville Central, one of, I don't know how many undefeated teams there are left in the state of Illinois, but Naperville Central is one of those many undefeated teams left with a 22-8 win over Sandburg. Redhawks are 8-0. Central got their running back, Aiden Clark, back. He had 177 yards and a touchdown.
Aiden Clark hasn't lost a step.
Nope. Central just finds a way to get a team win. Like, it's not just one player. It's a team win for the Redhawks.
Well, hey, they are an underrated, undefeated team. Not too many people are sleeping on Naperville Central, I feel.
Yeah. And Sam, this is only the second time a team has held Sandburg under 20 points this season.
Oh, great. That gets me really excited for what to expect on Friday. So
sorry, man. I had to spill the beans right there.
I'm just lucky I don't have to work till noon on Saturday. So you know
for
what?
Sure.
I'll be right there.
Kacy, I'm sure you've seen your fair share of undefeated teams and stuff. I mean, last year you saw two undefeated teams go at it in the 8A state championship game. Loyola and Lincoln Way East. I think they were for sure both undefeated. Mount Carmel had an undefeated season. Was Naperville Central undefeated team you saw coming this season?
No, it wasn't. And that's why I like that. I like when it's mixed up a little bit, right? We see the same teams kind of year after year make it. And even we're talking about earlier, Mount Carmel and Loyola, two teams that are always really good. I know we'll get to that later, but
we will.
The new teams in the mix. It's nice to be caught off guard and have some unexpected matchups here. I did the Huntley game 2 weeks ago. It was, gosh, they all start to blend together for me.
No worries.
And it was Huntley and Cary Grove. And everybody was like, oh my God, Cary Grove's going to kill this Huntley team. It's not even going to be a matchup. I mean, the game was a total barn burner. It like ended like so close. Huntley was hanging in there and really caught that Cary Grove team off guard. Cary Grove was playing without their fullback Logan Abrams. So yeah, I mean that makes a difference. But everybody was like, "Oh my God, this is going to be a blowout," and we didn't know about Logan being injured. So I like when it's unexpected. I can appreciate that. So I like this for Naperville.
Yeah, Matt, going back to Cary, speaking of Cary Grove, Matt and I, we were touching on Cary Grove a couple of weeks ago against Prairie Ridge, and that game, that was not an offensive barn burner like we expected. Both defenses came to play in that game.
Yeah, that was not what we fully envisioned for it, but it was still a close game nonetheless.
Yep. But yeah, no, good for Central to be 8-0. Sure, a lot of people didn't expect Central to be 8-0, but this senior class went 8-1 as freshmen. This senior class went 8-1 as freshmen, and that one loss was to guess who, Matt? If you want to take a wild guess,
I don't even know.
Lincoln Way East. Those two teams played in week two their freshman year, and Lincoln Way East won that game. Now they're playing again in week 9. Sure, both teams look a lot different, but it should be hopefully a good game. It's really hard to tell with how good both teams really are.
Is this game at Naperville Central?
It's at Lincoln Way East.
Oh, I would say this would be more. I would put this more in the Red Hawks' favor if it was at Lincoln.
Yeah, we'll touch on that game shortly and stuff. But yeah, Central's 8-0. The offense and defense played great, but let's not forget about their kicker and punter, Elson. He had 2 field goals in the game, and he had a few good punts that really pinned the Eagles back deep. So for Central, they're just it's just a full team effort. They don't have one specific player. It's a full team effort.
Well, that shows you how built they are, how well coached the team is entirely, and they're ready. I think they're ready to make some noise this playoffs.
I believe so too, and their next game is a good playoff preview, which we will touch on soon. Next one, Matt, another game where one of our teams is already in playoff mode. Waubonsee Valley lost to Lincoln Way Central 29-13. Again, another game where Waubonsee's offense was just a mess.
And this has been the problem for the Warriors. They have a decent defense, but they are just too inconsistent on offense, and that's been the theme for them this year. And Pat, we were talking about it the other night. I mean, they're 4-4, and one more win will get them playoff eligible. But we talk about strength of schedule. I mean, who have they beaten this year?
That's the problem too. That's why I have that feeling that Waubonsee Valley could be one of those 5-4 if they win, obviously on Friday. But if they win, I have that feeling that they could be one of those 5-4 teams that gets the hose. And I say that because they beat teams like Oswego East, Plainfield East. They beat DeKalb, who's currently winless, and Stag.
Yeah.
So
I just don't know about this Warriors team, honestly. And I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Waubonsee.
Neither am I. They've looked better. They looked a lot better, but
yeah, they're too inconsistent on offense. I can't put my finger on it, but I guess it's just because they, and I hate to say it, but against teams that struggle, such as Oswego East and DeKalb, who really haven't had good years. I mean, you'll see teams like that, like Wabanzi, just shine, and then against some of the other teams, like
Well, they barely beat Oswego East, only 14-0, and they barely beat DeKalb.
yeah, they kept those games pretty close,
Yep.
which, they have decent coaching, but I think it just, I'm not sure if it's player discipline or if it's just, the offense going up against, good defenses one week and then weak defenses the others, but it's inconsistent.
Yeah, and well, for Bonzi, first and foremost, they need to get that 5th win, and then we'll just see what happens from there.
All you can do is win and see. That's the best thing you can do.
Yep. Next one, Neuqua Valley gets win number 2 on the year, beating Matia Valley 49-20. Not much of a surprise.
Not much of a surprise, but I thought this would be the night where Matia would finally get that win over Neuqua. I thought it would be it.
I thought it'd be it too, but nope, that's not the case. Next one, Bennett Academy falls to defending state champs Nazareth Academy 62-14. Nazareth is 7-1. So for those who have seen Nazareth, no need to worry about them sneaking in. They're actually finally good for once.
Nazareth is I think Tim Rackey runs a tight ship, and that team is always good. I mean, we covered them in the state championship last year, and they were dominant once again. I don't know. I mean, when you bring up JJ McCarthy and Julian Love and a lot of these players who have gone on to have professional careers, I mean, you got a great program. He's been coaching for a really long time, and so I don't think we've seen the last of Nazareth at all.
No.
To
me, I feel like Nazareth is one of those teams that just has a fire lit under their butts. Yeah. And we've seen it for the past couple of years. Mm-hmm. And I mean by that is 2021. They got into the playoffs at 5-4, made a good run to the quarterfinals. 2022 got in at 5-4. An explosive run all the way to the 5A state championship game. Last year, people were thinking, yes, they're out at 4-5. They were one of those lucky 4-5 teams to get in. Because let's be real, there are some 4-5 teams that could get in, and there's some that just are like, nope, you're out.
Yeah,
they got in, had a fire lit under their butts, and they just played Nazareth football.
Oh boy,
this year, this Nazareth team is fully consistent.
Totally. And I just think that they have tricks up their sleeves, right? Like they're just a step above. And so full confidence in that group again. And, I feel like we've seen Bennett more when it comes to the basketball state championships.
Yeah.
Great. But yeah, football, you knew that that Nazareth had that one in the bag.
Yeah, they did. And for Bennett, I mean, they haven't had a good second half of the season. Got off to a strong 4-0 start and then ran to a really good Mount Carmel team. I figured, okay, good wake-up call. And then they got a big win over Notre Dame St. Patrick's to improve to 5-1. So, okay. And then they lost to Fenwick and Nazareth Academy. And
you can't just put up 2 touchdowns against Nazareth and expect that to be enough. So
you can't put up 2 touchdowns against Mount Carmel either.
I would argue the same thing that we see with Wabanzi is somewhat the same thing that we're somewhat seeing with Bennett. Just Bennett, is just slightly a little bit better. I mean, look at who they played at the start of the season. They played some teams that kind of sub 500 records. They took advantage.
I wouldn't be so sure about that, Matt. Gilchrist has 5 wins. They are on a winning streak right now. And Moline, they have 6 wins right now. But those are the only 2 good wins for Bennett.
Yeah, those are about it. And
then De La Salle forfeited their season.
Yeah.
St. Patrick's is hit or miss.
Yeah. And then St. Viator, they barely held on to beat them, which I was at that game.
So, yes, Bennett, I still think they're going to get into the playoffs, but
I don't doubt that either. I think they will because they're already at 5 wins. They have that eligibility locked up.
Yep, they do. But we'll see what happens. Next game. And Kacy, were you at this game? Lyons Township versus York?
No, I did not do that game last week. So I was at Illinois, Michigan last week, which was pretty awesome assignment. But I covered Lyons and York last season. The script was flipped, right? Like last year, it was all York under Michael Fitzgerald. He leaves, goes on to Marist. Now this Lyons team can win, and I really feel like they showed up and showed out this past weekend. I was kind of impressed how how they played. I mean, I didn't cover that game. It was Kenny McReynolds on that call.
Ah, gotcha. I thought you were at the game because I saw WCIU. I was like, oh, Kacy's probably
I
there.
probably would have been, yeah. So I had that game last year, and York won 24-14. And so I think it's a good comeback for the Lions to figure them out this year. So, I mean, you saw Danny Carroll rushing for 159 yards, 3 touchdowns,
Yep.
3 turnovers. So it was an unbeaten Lions team that keeps winning. So I
didn't realize that this was Lions Township's first West Suburban Silver Conference title since 1987.
Yeah.
Huh. Wow.
But it just shows how good that West Suburban Silver Conference is. I mean, everybody's like, talking about, 10 years ago, everyone's like, oh, Hinsdale Central, Glenbard West, and then comes York. But then there's a team called Lions Township.
Yeah. Never sleep on the Lions.
Don't
Never.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they're making me eat. They're making me eat it from last week because I picked York.
I will say that the Lions Township is another team that is very underrated. I'm trying to look it up right now. They're top 10 ranked.
They're currently undefeated right now.
They're top 10 ranked, but I would put them ahead of some other teams in the top 10 rankings right now.
Well, after that win against York, I would have to agree.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it here right now. Let's see. Lions Township is ranked 8th. I mean, Cary Grove is ranked 7th. They're undefeated. They're ranked behind Downers Grove North, who Lions Township beat. Granted, it was only by 1 point, but still beat them there. Still, Loyola's
Downers Grove North, who's another powerhouse.
Yeah. Loyola's 6-2. They're ranked top 5. Nazareth 7-1. And then Mount Carmel ranked 3 at 6-2. I would put Lions Township much higher on that list. They are a criminally underrated top 10 ranked team this year.
I mean, I'm sure Lions Township doesn't care where they're ranked. I'm sure all they care about is just wanting to, make a good run in the playoffs and hopefully come home with the state championship. I mean, that's everybody's goal. Nobody cares about rankings.
I mean, yeah, if everyone cared about rankings and everyone did good in postseasons based off rankings, the Green Bay Packers would have so many more Super Bowl titles right now.
If people cared about rankings, I mean, look at Indiana, pick to finish 17th in the Big Ten, and they're undefeated.
Yes.
So rankings maybe don't matter.
Yeah, rankings really don't matter. It just matters what some of these teams could do. And they always say, next man up. And we saw some guys step up for Lions Township. Their defense too. Don't sleep on their defense. Their defense had 3 turnovers against York.
That's against the York team. That's very consistent too.
Sure. And their only touchdown was on a defensive score too.
Oof.
Defense wins championships, baby.
Yep.
That's how it is. That's how it used to be, at least.
Exactly. Next game, Hinsdale Central keeps their playoff hopes alive with a 45-21 win over OPRF. Good win for Hinsdale Central, yet they have to play Downers Grove North next.
I mean, it's a tough task, but it's not impossible. I mean,
nope.
if it was impossible, I would definitely be saying that if Downers Grove North beat Lions Township.
Next game, Glenbard West. Sure, they're eliminated from the playoffs, but right now they're playing for pride, getting a 51-0 win over Proviso West. No surprise
Nothing
there.
To see here.
Downers Grove South. Downers Grove South gets win number 6. Good for the Mustangs. Get that 6th win to help improve your playoff seeding.
Yeah, that was hey, the other Downers Grove team would like to have some words with the Trojans, I believe.
Well, not really, because the week 2 game did not go well.
Okay, but honestly, Downers Grove South, I feel, has learned a lot more about themselves this season.
They did, and now they got Addison Trail coming up to end the season, which we're gonna jump right to Addison Trail. 42-17 over Leiden. Blazers basically jumped out to a 42-3 lead. This team continues to impress. They're having one of their best seasons since 2014.
Addison Trail, we've slept on them quite a bit early on in the season. I will not do that again.
I wasn't quite sleeping on them. I just knew that they were going to be good. Sure, they let the game against Willowbrook get away from them, but they've just been rolling since.
Yeah, that they have.
Another team in the Southwest, another team in the West Suburban Gold Conference, Willowbrook 43, Morton 6. Willowbrook continuing to do its thing. Next one, Wheaton South is now in must-win mode after a 35-13 loss to Batavia. Kacy, this is another team that you have seen in the past. And Batavia, they always find a way to reload.
No, for real. And I liked what we saw from Batavia in the state championship game in 2023. Unfortunately, they had to face Mount Carmel. So, you know, it's like that's just a tough break for them. But I really like that Batavia team. I think they're well coached. They're driven. They're gritty. I think we're not done seeing more from Batavia as well. And I mean, we saw Wheaton Warrenville South drop again down to now 4-4.
Yeah.
Batavia, the Bulldogs have been solid, and I think we could see them again in the state championship.
I hope so. And yeah, for Batavia, I mean, again, they always find a way to reload. It's also nice too when you have siblings because you got Noah Whitwell this time on the team. He had 4 touchdowns on 174 rushing yards.
Batavia, they are a pissed off team because they have a lot. I'm sure they're feeling a certain something towards a certain Geneva team from a couple weeks ago that will only want them to be playing like this. And
I think Geneva's in 6A for this year, if I'm correct. I could be wrong, but they've been in 6A, and Batavia's going to be in 7A. But it just shows how good that Duquesne conference is with Batavia, the Wheatons. The St. Charles schools. I mean, St. Charles East isn't having a strong year, but they're showing some progress. And Geneva, of course, like you said, Matt.
Yeah. I mean, those are conference rivals right there, even though conferences don't really mean much in this year's landscape of football.
Yeah.
For IHSA.
You got that right, man. And yeah, I mean, Wheaton South, I mean, they are currently sitting at 4-4 right now and basically need to win, and they're in next week. Next week, the Tigers take on the St. Charles East Saints.
And St. Charles,
to me, that's going to be a game where St. Charles East is going to give them a fight.
Yeah, you cannot sleep. Yeah, sure, St. Charles East is learning quite a bit, but they're no slouches. They're not. They are far from slouches, especially this year.
Exactly. Next game, Wheaton North is still alive for the playoffs right now. They got an overtime win over Glenbard North. Glenbard North tried to play spoiler.
I seriously don't. The Wheaton North Falcons are the opposite of the actual Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons are the choke artists. The Wheaton North Falcons are the team that always somehow rises from the dead and forces the choking. I mean, that's like, what, 4 wins this year where they've won in dramatic last-second fashion?
Yep, 21-14. I didn't realize. Oh, I did not realize they were on a 3-game losing streak. Yeah, lost 41-0 to Batavia, lost 31-6 to Wheaton South, lost closely to Geneva last week. Yeah, they had to pull out a week 1 win out of their tails against Providence Catholic, a week 2 win out of their tails against Lockport, get destroyed by St. Charles North, barely beat St. Charles East, lost 3 straight and just snuck by Glenbard North.
Yeah, I really don't know about Wheaton North's chances, but they're still fighting. So,
and they play Lake Park this week, who I think is going to give Wheaton North a run for their money.
Most definitely. But
speaking of Lake Park, they lose yet another game, 36-13 to St. Charles North. Well, St. Charles North is also good.
Yeah, they are just really good.
Yep. Glenbard East takes down Glenbard South, 41-7. The Rams continue to ram their opponents.
Yeah, that's a good one for me too. I just think that the Glenbard teams in general always keep things interesting. So I like when you have kind of a, I guess, crosstown matchup, if you want to call it. I think it creates some fun rivalry.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, back when the Glenbards used to be in the DVC, I mean, well, that really wasn't much of a rivalry because the Rams were struggling at the time and the Panthers were a good team then. I'm sure, Kacy, you remember I'm sure the name Justin Jackson kind of rings a bell.
No.
Yes. Sorry, my dog's barking.
All good. Oh, little what's his name again?
Bernie, I'll show you guys him if you want to see him.
Little Bernie. Hey, Bernie.
I'll bring him on the show.
Yes, Bernie.
Yeah. Hey, we got a dog appearance.
Bernie's making an appearance.
All right. What's up, little Bernie?
Hey.
He doesn't really know a lot about football, though.
We'll help you out there, Bernie.
Oh, give you a hand there.
Yep. Well, anyway, yes. Yeah, that Justin Jackson's game against us my junior year still lives rent free in my head. 405 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns. Sheesh. Just showed how good of a player he was.
Yeah. He's still bouncing around in the league, so he'll be there.
Exactly. But yeah, Lombard East, I mean, they're another team that you shouldn't sleep on right now. Right now, the Rams are currently sitting at 7-1.
Well, and this is like the crunch time too, where like teams are gonna like somebody has to lose soon, right? You can't, not everybody can't be 7-0, 7-1, like forever.
Yeah.
So this is kind of those couple weeks towards the end of the season where I think coaches get a bit nervous because records start to drop and things get a little more interesting in the standings. So this is crunch time.
Yeah,
exactly. And the Rams play Riverside Brookfield this week. And Matt, I know that's the school you like to talk about.
Well, that's somewhat nostalgic for me because that's my parents' old high school. So, that's where it began.
Yep. But yes, good to see Lombardis keep winning. West Chicago continues to roll. How about West Chicago? 10 years ago, this used to be so many teams as punching bag. 2 years in a row now, they're playoff eligible. What a story it is for this team.
Hey, go Cats. They one of the first teams to message me directly on the show when I first joined here. So
I love that.
Oh yeah. No, you guys, I've been riding with you guys all season because you guys were one of the first to reach out to me. So go Cats.
Go Cats.
Oh, how about that? I didn't know that. I know they gave you a follow at first.
Well, they gave me a follow. Well, they gave me. Let me rephrase that. They didn't reach out to me directly. They just gave me a follow.
That still matters.
That still counts. That still matters. So it's like, you know what, you guys, I got you.
Yeah, West Chicago is 5-3 right now. I'm so happy for this team. 2 years in a row, they're playoff eligible after just being thrown around by so many teams back in the day.
God. Yeah. But now they grew up so fast.
Yep. Next one, Benton with a close 28-27 win over Ridgewood. Shootout by both teams. This game needed overtime. Nate Stewart scored the game-winning touchdown for Fenton. The Bison are now 6-2. Another team that's having a bounce back because they haven't made the playoffs since 2014. And Kacy, going back to your point we said about Napeville Central being one of those surprise, 8-0 teams. How about you seeing, these teams that haven't done anything for years just finally, do something.
Sometimes when you get hot, and I like that because you get a different coach in there, you get some young talent that can do something, and then the whole city and the community is kind of backing this team who hasn't seen a state appearance in a long time or a playoff appearance in a long time. So again, like I just think that's exciting, and it just speaks to the level of talent that Chicagoland and just Illinois in general has when it comes to these high schools, because things can shift on a dime. And the fact that we have 8 different classes where we can showcase this talent, I think is really big for the IHSA. And I like seeing teams I haven't covered before.
Exactly. Actually, Kacy, I do want to ask you this question. Since the past couple of years, we've seen teams like, Loyola and Mount Carmel win state championships. Is it possible that we see maybe a, new state champion this year?
In the 7 or 8A class, I don't know. What Mount Carmel has, 2 losses right now?
Yeah, 2 losses. Loyola's got 2 losses.
Yeah, they're not having the same year they had last year. I think last year both of those teams came in without a loss or maybe 1 loss. You correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I was going to say, they always play at the end of the year, so I think Mount Carmel was on the short end of the stick, but still, though.
Yeah, and I've talked a lot with Coach Jordan Lynch, and he has always said, like, hey, when we lose, it's my fault. Like, I didn't prepare my guys the way I should have, and it's not on them. And they don't lose very often.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I hate to I'm not rooting against a team or for a
team,
today, but I don't know.
It's hard to tell right now at the moment,
It's hard
but
to tell. It
with
really
how some of the teams are playing right now, and like we're talking like Central, Lincoln Way East, heck, Oswego too. They're having one of their best seasons ever. I mean, Matt, you and I were talking about this a couple weeks ago. How sports like volleyball and soccer put out their brackets a couple weeks before the postseason. Football, we don't know until literally the season ends.
No, yeah, we don't know until literally right then and there. Uh-oh, is that Bernie again?
Hi, Bernie. He's very needy. He hates when I'm FaceTime or calls. So.
Oh, it sounds like Bernie wants to get up in on the show.
Like, I have a comment about Mount Carmel, actually.
Look, as I said, I think Bernie's got a lot of comments and stuff.
Yeah. Just make him a football fan, guys. Don't worry.
We need to get him a football collar as well.
Right.
Yep. Next game, Matt, for the DuPage games. Bartlett 57, Larkin 29. Both teams aren't in the playoffs, but they're playing for pride, and sometimes it just shows the grit that these teams have.
Hey, honestly, you can't. You're not going to lose anything. Might as well just play for honor and may the better man win.
Yep. Wheaton Academy continues their impressive season so far, 41-0 over Aurora Christian. Wheaton Academy, I mean, yes, you want to take it one game at a time, but that playoff loss last year to St. Louis in the 4A state semifinals, that still lives rent-free in their head.
Yeah, that literally does. So, hey, they're going to be looking really good, or they look really good against them.
Oh, yes. Next one. Oh, boy, this was a barn burner. St. Francis, 41. DePaul College Prep, 38. Another team that's on the rise this year, DePaul College Prep.
Yes.
I mean, to lose by a field goal, that hurts. It really does. By 3 points, I mean, I don't know. It's just a tough loss for that DePaul team, and I was surprised the score was that high in that one.
Yeah, because last year their basketball team won the state championship, and now football is apparently following the same as well. Because you were there for that state championship game.
That's right. Yeah, I've covered DePaul College Prep, I think, the last 2 years in the state championship.
Yep, and now look at them now. They're doing good in football.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how things go for DePaul College Prep. DePaul College Prep is, where is that right now? Why can't I see that? 6-2 right now. So still, tough loss, but 6-2 is not a bad record.
No, it's really not. It's tough when you're in this Catholic league with a lot of really, really good teams.
Oh, yeah. The big Catholic League mega conference.
Yeah.
Just like what we saw, Matt, with the the DVC Southwest Suburban Conference, which I don't think I asked you this, Kacy, but what did you think of that conference merger? I honestly liked the move.
I did too. I think it keeps things competitive, because then you have a chance. It's kind of like with the Big Ten. Like when you add these teams, you have a chance to play different teams. The schedule switches up a little bit. Iron sharpens iron, and you get some different matches. And so I'm not complaining as well.
Neither am I. Well, especially with how weak the DVC has been the past couple of years, teams you need this competition for the playoffs. Lincoln Way East is obviously good. Home with Flossmoor, sure, their record doesn't show, but they got talent. Lincoln Way West is having a great season. Lincoln Way Central, Andrew's doing good. Sandburg, you just need that competition.
Yeah,
totally. I agree. It creates fun matchups that can turn into interesting upsets that you wouldn't expect, or just really competitive games.
Exactly.
That's definitely.
But yeah, and speaking of competitive games, St. Francis DePaul College Prep was competitive. Both quarterbacks were on fire. Brady Palmer with 5 total touchdowns, including the game winner in overtime. Fernando Rodriguez with 5 passing touchdowns on 320 passing yards. It's things you love to see.
Yeah. And again, it just speaks to the level of talent that we're seeing and how things are switching up. Like even just covering that Cary Grove Huntley game, I know I keep going back to it, but
it's all good.
We did not expect it to be as competitive as it was.
What was the final score of that game? I know it was crazy.
It was like 52-48 or something like that.
You know what? I did see that score. I was like,
down after touch. It was back and forth response. These teams were just. It was just crazy. Like,
does Huntley like to run the triple option like Prairie Ridge?
Yeah, yeah. And
Really?
and Cary Grove couldn't figure out Huntley. And so I mean they were down, I think, 2 touchdowns like early in the first quarter. And I remember
Oh, it's Cary Grove and Huntley. My bad. I'm sorry. Yeah.
yeah.
So a triple option against a triple option. These teams love this triple option. Like I know Cary Grove loves the triple option. Prairie Ridge loves the triple option. Like you just said, Huntley, and there are just other teams that love this triple option. And I'm glad the triple option is still a thing.
Yeah, I am too. And but again, both teams like to run the football, and we saw that on display. And so I don't know. It created an unexpected moment and some tension for Cary Grove. Now Cary Grove ended up being dominant in the end, but that's what we're seeing throughout the entire IHSA.
I agree. Yeah, no, Matt and I, we've had our fair share of like seeing so many different teams and stuff this season, and whatever teams we've seen throughout the season as we cover our 6 games per Friday. And yeah, there's just so many good special teams out there. I love to see it. A few more games left in our DuPage games of the week recap. IC is one win away from qualifying from the playoffs. They beat St. Viator 48-28.
I think I covered IC Catholic, right?
Yeah, in 2022. Yeah.
Yeah, 2022. Got it. I thought it was last 2023. It wasn't. You're right. And I remember that team, and they were a really good team. And so to get back to that level is exciting for them, and the fact that they're only 1 win away.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next one, Montini, 28-7 win over St. Ignatius. Montini finally having 2 strong years after having 2 down years, but good for the Broncos to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
And then our final DuPage game of the week, Piatone takes down Lyle 42-10. I mean, you're going to have your good years and your bad years, and Lyle's unfortunately one of those.
Yeah, nothing to see there.
Yep. All right, next games to our IHSA games of the week recap. Oswego continues to impress us, Matt. 42-10 over Minooka. There's another undefeated team you don't want to sleep on. Sure, the Southwest Prairie Conference isn't the strongest, but the way Oswego's been playing, oh boy.
God. The way they've been playing all year, I mean, they look like a bona fide state contender.
Their defense forced 3 turnovers, which led to their scores. Brett Connolly, who I'm sure you remember, Matt, 3 total touchdowns. Carson Cooney scored a touchdown.
Yeah. The Panthers, you do not want to mess with them at all. I covered their week 1 game against Nequa. Yeah, I know it's against Nequa, but still they're pretty decent.
Exactly. And the next one we talked about, Matt, we talked about Wilmington last week, who had Wilmington last week, who came in to Matino undefeated, destroyed them 41-6. Another team that just loves to run the football.
They ran it right down their throats again.
All ground and pound for Wilmington. Wilmington has won 21 straight games.
That's can't bet against them right there.
Which includes their state run they had last year. Their only loss was in week 1 of last season. They won 13 straight to win the state championship. Kacy, I believe you were there for their state championship game.
Yes, I was. And I remember covering all 8. And I always say, like, year to year, I can't imagine, like, covering these teams for 30 years. Because year to year, I can't even remember sometimes what happened. Because I go from one game to the next, and I have to, like, wipe the slate clean and move on.
Right.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Hey, but I'm sure it's fun, though.
It is fun. Yeah, it's cold. It's always cold. Always.
Well, thankfully, Kacy, it's Illinois, so it may not be super cold. I always joke with everyone and say there's 3 seasons: winter, construction, and bipolar weather.
That's so true.
Yeah. They're doing construction by my neighborhood right now. Ugh. Construction loves to give us a living hell on our commutes to work. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
It never gets better.
Exactly. But yes, back to Wilmington. Oh God, I hope I say his name right. Hunter Ospavicius scored a couple touchdowns in the second quarter. He even had an 84-yard touchdown. 123 total in the game. Ryan Kettman with 212 yards. I was watching some of their footage, and yeah, ground and pound, baby. Ground and pound.
Can't bet against it.
Nope. Next one, Byron 29, Dixon 28. Matt, we did pick Byron last week, but
Oh, just barely.
yeah, well, here's what went down. Byron was trailing 28 to 21 with 16 seconds left. Dixon hasn't won since 2014. Andrew Talbert scores the touchdown. You think Byron's going to kick the extra point. They're like, no, let's go for 2 in the win. Caden Considine delivers for the win.
Wow.
Byron wins 29-28.
Caden Considine has been the star for a couple years now over there.
Yep.
Once again.
And Byron is the champions of the Big Northern Conference, another state team that always finds a way to make it to the state championship.
It's so painful, though. You have them right on the ropes, and then you give up a touchdown, and the other team's like, nah, we want to go for 2 just to put the dagger right in their hearts. That's
exactly what Byron did, and Byron's one of those teams that's going to put the dagger in your heart. They did it to IC in the 2021 playoffs, down 14-0, and then late in the game, they scored a touchdown. They go for 2.
Yep.
Off to the state championship.
Exactly.
And then our last IHSA game of the week. Where'd you go? Here we are. Last IHSA game of the week. I apologize if my notes had that score wrong, but I accidentally put the wrong score for the other one. Johnson City takes control of the Black Diamond Conference, 50-33 over Cesar Valier Waltonville. Matt, you picked Cesar. I think we betted against Johnson City last week, and ate our words.
Yeah, we ate our words this week.
Hey, you can't win them all, guys.
No, exactly.
You can't win them all.
I still remember Hinsdale Central's coach Ryan McHugh DMing me one night after I betted against them against York. He's like, "So, I think you should look at those Red Devils now. Well, I think we're pretty battle tested." I was like, "Shit."
You were like, darn it.
And then me and him became friends ever since.
Well, it ended well.
Well, Ryan McHugh, he loves our show and stuff, and he just wanted to give me some friendly shit.
That's good.
I'm surprised not a lot of people have slid into my DMs and given me some shit. Well, anyway, that'll do it for our Week 8 recap. Now, let's go on to Week 9, where it's safe to say the playoffs do start for some teams. Obviously, some teams are already locked into the playoffs, and then there's some that have some good playoff previews. And we're going to start off with the big one, the biggest game in the state, the game where I'm sure a lot of people have their eyes on, Naperville Central versus Lincoln Way East. Oh boy.
You're a Naperville Central alum, Pat, so this is going to be making you sweat a lot of bullets here looking at this one.
I mean, to be quite honest with you, I mean, we both teams 8-0 coming into the game. I will admit the advantage will go towards Lincoln Way East, but this is just a good playoff preview for both teams because both Lincoln Way East and Naperville Central are going to see some good teams in the playoffs.
Well, Lincoln guys, Rob Zvonar has been there, and he's all business, right? Like,
oh yeah,
he's there to win, and he's there to win football games and just keep things.
I don't blame him.
And so I don't know. Like, some coaches give us like a lot of fluffy information, and they can be kind of like, just more energetic about what they're delivering to us when we have our calls for these games. And I remember Coach Zvonar kind of just being like, business by the book, and so. There's something to be said about that, though, and that's why they're winning.
You wish some high schools have coaches like that.
Yeah, and it works for some people, and it's been working for this Lincoln Way East team.
Oh, yeah, all the time, and not just this year, Kacy, but last year, sure, they came up short. The last 2 years, sure, they came up short, but they still made it to the championship game. 2019, they made business. When they made it in 2012, they made business. Yeah, you hit on the head right there. This Lincoln Way East team means business. He gets those players to go to work. Got some great players. They got Jonas Williams and a deadly backfield with Brody Gish and Zion Gist.
Oh, God.
Have fun trying to play with those names, Kacy, if they end up in the state championship game.
Right.
God.
Gist. I'm like, oh, wait, he scored the touchdown. Gist scored the touchdown. But Lincoln Way East, I will take them in this one. We'll see if Central can hold them to under 40 points this year. That I don't know if they will.
I think they will, but I'm still going to go with Lincoln Way East for
I am
this one.
too.
30-20 final score prediction. That is what I am going with.
Okay, I like that pick. Central fans, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, but I'm betting against you this week.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Red Hawks. I know some of you watch the show. I know I talked to some of you quite a bit. I know some of you all really passionate, but I I got to be sensible here. I really do.
We got to be realistic. And hey, here's one of the positives though. Central, if you lose, you're still in the playoffs. You can learn from
Exactly.
that loss, knowing that you're going to play some good teams in the playoffs,
Exactly. That's what you got to do.
and you will have a for sure home game in the first round.
Definitely.
But it should be a good one tomorrow. A good test for both teams come before the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
Next game, Matt, you got this one. Sandburg versus Naperville North. Matt, my
Again,
question is, will Naperville North's defense show up?
that depends. I don't know. I mean, they lost one of their big guys, Donovan Howard. He's out for the year now. They
Are
lost
you
him.
serious?
Yeah,
Oh
he's out.
boy.
Yeah, he got carted off early on against the Homewood Flossmoor game.
That's a
And
big blow for the team
that's a
because Gabe Hill, he can't do it all.
no, he can't. And those two are a big duo right there. And Donovan Howard, he's no, I for sure I believe he will not be playing this weekend against
Yeah.
Sandburg. So again, defense is very optional, but if I know anything, Jacob Bell is going to find a way to will the Huskies to win. Lord Bell will reign supreme again.
I love that, Matt. Lord Bell. Please
Yep.
say that in the highlight this week.
Uh yeah, if I say Lord Bell in the highlights, there will be some central people that I know that'll be thinking I have a bias towards North, and then
No. I know firsthand you do not.
I mean, I don't know. Jacob Bell's been growing on me lately, so
I think Jacob Bell in general has just been growing out a lot of people lately because last year he did not
no,
look like the Jacob Bell we were all expecting. And this year he's just doing a good job rolling out in the pocket. Well, it helps too when you got good receivers. But bottom line is Jacob Bell has taken a big step forward.
yeah, he has, and if I know anything about him, he's gonna will away for them to win it this weekend.
And I was talking with Matt LeCrae at my soccer game last night, but he literally told me that if you put some of North's offensive players on Central's team,
Oh God.
that'd be a scary team.
God, yeah, that'd be game over there. Red Hawks would have a much more potent undefeated team. They're already potent, but God, they'd be more scarier then.
But I'm going to take Naperville North in this one. Kacy, who do you see winning Sandburg versus Naperville North?
I'm going to take Naperville North too, just because I haven't seen enough from that Sandburg team.
Good choice, Kacy. Good choice. You'll be impressed with Jacob Bell. Dude's got an arm.
I'm looking forward to it.
So far he's committed to Ball State, but I won't be surprised if he changes schools.
I wouldn't be surprised either. He's been insanely good this year.
Next game. It's playoff time for Waubonsie Valley as they take on Metea Valley.
I am going
Does Metea Valley have spoiler in their minds?
I think they may have spoiler in their mind. I think this will be closer for them than it was against Nequa last week, but I am still going Waubonsie in this one.
I'm still going to go Waubonsie Valley. Right now, they need that 5th win, and then just hoping that they do get in at 5-4.
Yeah.
I know their schedule has not been favorable all year with the teams that they beat.
Mm-hmm.
No, it has not. But hey, they go into a favorable game tonight. They've done good in favorable games all year, so this is it for them. What
about you, Kacy, on the Waubonsie train?
I am with you guys, 100%.
Awesome. Next one. Oh boy. DePaul College Prep versus Bennett. 2 basketball schools now going out on the gridiron.
Hey, good to have both. I think DePaul College Prep could surprise us here against this Bennett team. The way that they played against St. Francis, I mean, I'm going with them.
Well, we talked about it earlier. I mean, we talked about rising teams shooting up through the ranks, and DePaul College Prep was one of those teams. I definitely see it against Bennett.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, DePaul College Prep's offense has just been impressive all season long. Even in the losses, I mean, sure they lost to St. Francis, but they put up 30. They put up 38 in that loss.
That should be enough points to win a game. But when your defense struggles against that St.
Yeah.
Francis team and the offense is good, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Fernando Rodriguez with 1,938 passing yards, 20 touchdowns on the year.
Mm.
And then their running back, Nick Martinez, with over 744 rushing yards. This looks like a fun DePaul College Prep team. I know our coworker Logan will be at that game on Friday, so should be an interesting highlight to see, Matt.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one for sure.
Next one, Hinsdale Central takes on Downers Grove North. A big game coming up for Hinsdale Central because they win and they're in. And Downers Grove North, they're coming off a dominating 41-7 win over Hinsdale South. It just depends on what kind of Hinsdale Central team you're going to get.
Well, as we said before, it's not over until it's over, and Hinsdale Central's proving that. And it's not impossible because Downers Grove North lost to Lyons Township, but still, I'm going to go with the Trojans on this one here.
I'm taking the Trojans as well, and hopefully some of you Hinsdale Central fans can keep your, keep things to yourself. Kacy,
Just
I don't know if you
keep
saw
your
what happened week 1.
Just
But,
keep your
week
mouth
one.
shut.
Oh my God, it was so hilarious. We got to spill the beans. So
Yeah.
some Downers Grove. So you know how some student Instagram pages like to make some funny hype videos and stuff.
yeah.
So they took their they were doing like a little how do I say it? It's a nice little video of them talking about Central Week 1. They're like, all right, Central Week's here, let's go beat him and stuff. Well, they took it a little too far and decided to go over to Central's field at 4:00 in the morning one night, if I'm correct, and step on midfield and just hold a piece of paper of the Red Hawk logo and just burn it. Just a piece of paper.
While standing on the logo.
Yeah.
That's signing their death warrant right there.
Yeah, that'll fire up a team, that's for sure.
And it fired up Naperville Central, and Naperville Central won that game. So apparently that it was there on their Barstool page. Apparently it's private now, but don't get too comfortable because people can screen record stuff nowadays on these phones.
Once it's on the internet, it's out there. I don't care if it's private or not.
Yeah, no, you got to be careful. You got to be careful what you do.
Yeah.
No. I saw that. I'm like, okay, Central's gonna run all over them, and Naperville Central did run all over them.
Wow.
Exactly.
But yes, I'm taking Downers Grove North on this one. Kacy, I'm sure you're going with the Trojans too.
I am. I've seen them in action. I've seen them live. They're a dominant team, and they continue to dominate. So,
and you got Owen Thulin, not Owen Thulin. Okay, you got Owen Lansu for one more season after this.
Mm-hmm. I just like that team. So
that's a quarterback that's been impressive lately.
For sure, I'm going with them as well.
Yep. So far, he's committed to Minnesota right now, and I'm glad to see what he's doing.
Yeah.
Next game, Addison Trail versus Downers Grove South. A big game in the West Suburban Gold Conference.
These are two teams I haven't covered as much, so this one's harder for me. I might go Downers Grove South though.
I may go Downers Grove South.
That's a fair pick, but I really like this Addison Trail team. I'm going with them this week over Downers South.
Ooh, we're divided.
Ooh, all right. Yeah, we're divided. All right.
We've been divided fairly on some shows. We've been divided on some shows, but tonight it's 2 against 1. So we'll see who will be eating it next week.
Right.
Matt and I have had our fair share of eating it week after week.
Yep. Yeah, we both are equal just in giving it back to each other.
Exactly. Next game, Wheaton North versus Lake Park. Playoffs start tomorrow for Wheaton North. Lake Park is looking to play spoiler.
I don't know that they can do it. I'm going Wheaton North.
I'm going Wheaton North too.
Mm-hmm.
Lake Park has just been that hit or miss team. Like against the good teams, they just get absolutely walloped.
Well,
yeah, that's a sign of needing more growth. So I don't believe in them this late in the season. Sadly,
Wheaton North though is a team that they're good, but they've had a lot of heart attack wins this season, so they've been very close. But
one of theirs, I think their game against Providence Catholic was literally the last second of the game.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. I'm sure it was.
Yep. But yes, I see the Falcons doing it, but yeah, we'll see. I'm taking the Falcons as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then next game, Wheaton Warrenville South, who is also in playoff mode, takes on St. Charles East, an up and coming rising St. Charles East.
I'm going the Saints on this one.
You got the Saints pulling the upset?
This Wheaton South team, they've done some things that have really kept having my head scratching. So I'm gonna go with
Well,
the Saints are a
we saw
rising
them
team.
choke it away against St. Charles North earlier this year.
Yeah, they did. I think that may come back to bite them. I'm going St. Charles East.
I think Wheaton South will get their act together and go, guys, you ain't losing, we're done. I think they'll get their act together and get the win.
This one's tough. I think I'm going St. Charles East. I'm with Matt.
Oh, okay. Got us a little 2-on-1 war tonight.
Tonight.
We'll take some friendly shots next week, whoever's wrong. But yes, Wheaton South. I mean, I won't be surprised if they lose, considering with some of the games they let get away this year.
Yeah.
And if they do lose tomorrow, they're going to look back at that St. Charles North game.
Yeah. Should have won it.
You're up by 9 with 2 minutes to go. You give up a garbage time TD and then the onside kick, and everything just went downhill from there.
Yep, that's what happened to Homewood Flossmoor this past week.
Yeah, they have the onside kick. Next game, Fenton versus West Chicago. Both teams are playoff eligible, so it's safe to say this is a good playoff preview for both teams. I'm leaning towards Fenton on this one.
I am also leaning towards Fenton. Sorry, Wildcats. I said all that nice stuff about you earlier, but I just think Fenton's just the better team right now.
Fenton's a better team, but I'm gonna get crazy and pick West Chicago.
I like crazy.
I love an upset, and we've seen some momentum from them, and we know that you never know.
Exactly. I like that, Kacy. Next game, Glenbard East versus Riverside Brookfield. Keep rolling, Rams. Keep rolling. I'm taking the Rams.
I'm also riding the Rams here with this one.
I'm with you on that. I third that.
We're all together.
Next one, St. Lawrence versus Montini.
I like this matchup. I'm gonna go St. Lawrence. I've seen them play. I just think they have what it takes late in the season.
Give me St. Lawrence too.
Going against Broncos country. Okay.
Broncos country. Let's cry.
We got a third one tonight. Okay. Give me Montini.
Oh boy. We go 3.
Yep. And then another one, a big one. St. Francis versus Nazareth Academy.
This is the game. I mean, no offense to the game I'm covering, but this is like the game of the week in my mind.
Yeah, this
I
is
agree.
definitely.
These
are 2 top 10 teams.
Are crazy good. And I'm going with Tim Rackey's Nazareth squad.
I will have to agree with you on that as well, Kacy. Tim Rackey's squad, you mentioned Lincoln Way East's coach means business. Well, so does Tim Rackey. He's not messing around.
No, and just his track record of success, right? And the way he coaches. He thinks about things in a different way. I'm going with Nazareth.
I third that call there. So we're all together on the same page again.
Now to our IHSA games of the week. First one. You'll be there for this one, Kacy. Loyola versus Mount Carmel.
I don't feel comfortable picking because I'm covering this game, so I'm not going to pick.
That's fair.
I feel like it's the right thing to do as the sideline reporter for the game.
That's fair.
I will just comment, Bo Deschereau's team, 3 losses on this season so far. They lose to a really good East St. Louis team who was really good last year, so that's a tough loss.
Number 1 ranked.
They lost to St. Francis too this year.
So they've had some tough breaks. I do think they're a great team. I think maybe Mount Carmel has a bit of an edge, just as far as their competitiveness. But that's a tough one, and I'm not going to make a pick.
Nope.
But I'm going to say
I agree. It should be a good game, that's for sure. It will be a good game. Both those teams never disappoint. Matt, who are you picking?
I'm going to give the edge to Mount Carmel in this one, actually. I'm going to go there. I don't think they should be top 3 ranked, but they're definitely the better team.
I like that pick, Matt. I'm going to give the slight edge to Loyola on this one.
Ooh.
Loyola's been hot. Loyola just finds a way to get hot at the right time, and
That they do.
These are two really well-coached teams, two really successful Catholic League teams. We've seen them in state year after year. The state championships just keep racking up. So when I get there and start covering this game, I'll message you guys and we can talk more about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, go ahead. We're gonna say, go ahead. Yep. And then our last ICCA game of the week. This one's always a good one, no matter the records. Rochester versus Sacred Heart Griffin.
This is a tough one. These are two really good teams that I have covered before as well. And I feel like Sacred Heart Griffin, since Ken Leonard left and retired, has not quite been the same team. But I just think these are two really good teams. Man, this is tough.
I'm going to go with the Rochester on this one because Derek Leonard, he also means business.
True. And Derek Leonard and Ken Leonard are family, literally. It's son and father. So it's
okay. I was gonna say, are they actually blood related?
Yeah, Ken Leonard is the dad of Rochester. So you know that, like, even though Ken's not coaching anymore and Sacred Heart Griffin as a new head coach, you can tell like the same sentiment lives on for those.
The Leonard Bowl. Oh, we missed the Leonard Bowl.
I mean, so that's an exciting one, and Coach Leonard's going to be there rooting on his son.
Yep.
Even though it's his old team too.
Yep. But yes, I'm going with Rochester. Matt, who are you going with?
Give me Rochester as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then finally, we'll wrap up with our DuPage teams of the week. Matt, who's your team of the week? I think I have an idea who your team is.
You already know who my team of the week is. It's the team that kept me up until 4 a.m. Give me my best highlight in my time at NCTV. And this game was a thriller. Give me the Huskies.
Good pick, Matt. I like that pick. I'm going to take Addison Trails. They keep rolling. And that wraps up the show. Another good episode of the DuPage Run and Shoot. Kacy, thank you for coming on this week.
That was fun, guys. I'm excited to do another one sometime down the road. Thank you so much for having me.
I think we could definitely make that work.
Love it. Thank you for letting my dog come on too.
Yeah, hey Bernie, we gotta get Bernie into football. How old is he now?
I know. I think he'll pick St. Francis for me as his team.
Okay. How old is Bernie now?
He's 6 months.
Okay, because I've seen your post of Bernie just sleeping on the couch. I'm like,
yeah, he sleeps a lot. He also eats everything in sight. He bites all of my socks and my couch and pillows. So yeah, we're just figuring out how to raise a.
So Bernie's pretty much a psycho.
He's a psycho, but he's a cute psycho, and it's been interesting to raise a puppy while being a sports reporter that travels. So
I was just gonna say
it was a not the greatest decision, but we're working with it. So
there you go.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
Thank you guys again. I appreciate the time. I'm glad I could come on.
Oh, we appreciate you coming on, Kacy, and we'll definitely have you on soon.
Awesome.
Definitely for how exciting these playoffs are going to get.
100%. Thank you guys.
Of course. Well, thank you, everyone, for tuning into this episode of the DuPage Run and Shoot. We will see you next week.